Peace. Mankind's ever cherished socio-political economic state of society. But for centuries, love for power has disrupted peace again and again. In our modern sovereign state system, peace and conflict has become even bigger an issue. The largest international organization working for peacekeeping and security is the United Nations. Today, we will go back in time to see how it all began. To begin our journey, we will have to go back a century, the year 1920. The First World War had ended and its consequences were devastating. The world had suffered 18 million deaths directly due to the war, and millions more were wounded. The Spanish flu of 1918 added 17 to 50 million more deaths. The war sparked numerous revolutions and many new states were created. It had brought a significant turning point in the political, cultural, economic, and social climate of the entire world. Peace was disrupted. In 1918, the central powers of the war agreed to halt the killing. They met in a conference to hammer out formal peace terms. On January 1920, following the Paris Peace Conference, the League of Nations was founded. It was the first ever worldwide intergovernmental organization whose principal mission was to maintain world peace. The League's key purposes included disarmament, collective security, settling disputes between countries through negotiation, diplomacy, and improving global welfare. But it did not come out very successful in maintaining these goals. The League, being created by the Allied powers to end the First World War, led it to being viewed as the League of Victors. It was also slow in coming to its decisions, as it required unanimous vote of 9, later 15 council members. The League had no army of its own, and universal disarmament was impossible. Moreover, the credibility of the organization was weakened by the fact that the United States never joined the League. Japan, Italy, Spain, Germany withdrew. The Soviet Russia joined late and was soon. The League was mostly silent in the face of major events leading to the Second World War. It failed to act against Japanese invasion of Manchuria and Second Italo-Ethiopian War. As Benito Mussolini said, "The League is very well known when sparrows shout, but no good at all when eagles fall out." The League ultimately proved incapable of preventing aggression by the Axis powers in the 1930s. In 1939, Adolf Hitler invaded Czechoslovakia and the war broke out. The onset of the Second World War showed that the League had failed its primary purpose, which was to prevent any future world war. World War II was the deadliest conflict in human history. Never before did the world see such cruelty. It killed 70 to 85 million people, mostly civilians. Destruction of infrastructure and properties led to an economic disaster. Genocide, massacres, mass bombings, concentration camps, slave labors, atomic war, all sorts of war crimes, along with diseases, famine, and starvation made the world a living hell. Peace was lost once more. The world had suffered enough. The leaders of the Central Powers felt the necessity to form another international organization powerful enough to prevent future conflicts and wars. On New Year's Day, 1942, US President Franklin Roosevelt, UK Prime Minister Winston Churchill, Maxim Litvinov of USSR, and T.V. Soong of China signed a document which later came to be known as the United Nations Declaration. The next day, representatives of 22 other states added their signatures. By 1st March 1945, 21 additional states signed. During the war, the United Nations became the official term for the Allies. To join, the countries had to declare war on the Axis. 25th April 1945, representatives from 50 states met in San Francisco for a conference and started drafting the foundational treaty of the organization, known as the United Nations Charter. The United Nations officially came into existence in 24th October 1945, ending the 6 years long war. On 18 April 1946, the League of Nations held its last assembly for liquidating the League and transfer assets to the United Nations as its successor. In the conference, Robert Cecil declared, "The League is dead. Long live the United Nations." Despite being a continuum of the League, the United Nations had to bring significant changes in its peacekeeping policy for being effective. To this day, the United Nations is the largest, most familiar, most represented, and most powerful intergovernmental organization that aims to maintain international peace and security. The organization started off with 51 member states, including 5 permanent members of the Security Council. Today, it has 193 members and 2 observer states. The United Nations was established with the goals of peacekeeping and security, maintaining human rights, economic and social development, decolonization, and settling disputes by peaceful means. After 75 years of its birth, how much has it accomplished? Over the last 75 years, the United Nations has authorized 71 international peacekeeping missions, assisted more than 34 million refugees, provided vaccination for 58% of children of the world, declared 80 treaties for maintaining human rights, and many more. It has been awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002 for its contribution on peacekeeping.